Welcome back. I just thought I would do a review on my own car. It's the first new car that I've ever owned. Well, new car, so it was 1 year old when I got it. So I thought I might as well do a quick review on it. So first of all, it's a Series 5 L200. It's the very last of the Series 5 on a 19 plate. I personally think these are, I would say, one of the best L200s ever made actually. The new Series 6, I'm not overly keen. It's only got a 2.2 rather than a 2.4 diesel with only 150 brake horsepower over these which have 180 brake horsepower. So I can't really see the point in getting a new car and having less power. It doesn't really, I know it's for emissions reasons, but it also AdBlue and they have a lot of electronic stuff. These are great. Now, one of the few cars you'll get on a 19 plate where a lot of things are just still manual. There's a normal handbrake, no AdBlue, no camera up the top of here, which need to be calibrated if you put new tyres on, if you have a little bump, new suspension components, and then you calibrate it and they cost thousands. So I didn't want that, along with a lot of other things that these newer cars have. You know, it's just pointless. I don't see the point. I deal with too many cars at work and I know the cost when they go wrong. I know the car's under warranty, but I do intend keeping it for a while. Anyways, a few little tips. I'll make this a bit of a review as well as information. First up, buying these cars. They're classed as a commercial. Well, they're not a car, they're a truck. So be very careful when you're buying them. I was looking at these and they were like sort of 18, 19 and £20,000 plus VAT. So, you know, you add 20% onto those values, you're talking £3,000 and £4,000. And I come across this one, and I happened to see a few other ones online with no VAT, and I didn't really understand it. And here, obviously, whoever buys it originally, if they're not VAT registered and they pay the VAT, you don't need to pay it. So this was, I think, somewhere around £19,000 on a 19 plate with only 6,000 mile with no VAT, where the one standing right next to it was identical. You had to pay the VAT, 4,000. I stood to the guy at the salesman. I says, "What's the deal with this?" I said, "I'm not VAT registered, and I'm buying it for personal use." Oh, he says, "You've still got to pay it." So naturally, I didn't. This though was a company car for Mitsubishi. It was basically a lady who worked in the office. And she got this as a company car. And with it being classed as commercial, it's something to do with you get your tax back on your wages. So basically, I saved £4,000 just purely for picking that one rather than the one next to it. Which again, since it's just done, the car was registered March 2019, and it was used up until December 19, and then it was put off the road, and it stood from December 19 till August 2020 when I bought it. So I basically got a practically brand new car, which is only a few months old / used, for a fraction of the price, plus saving £4,000 not paying the VAT. Again, it means when I come to sell it as well, I don't have to go adding VAT onto it. Because, you know, I'm not going to pay £4,000 VAT and then sell the car in a few years' time and lose that on top of the depreciation. So anyways, that's the first thing. Second thing is, again, another reason I got the car was it's down as a commercial. So there's a lot of things happening at the moment with these, they're like control zones for emissions. And this being a commercial, like a van, these are exempt. As long as they're Euro 6, which it is Euro 6 on the logbook and everything, there's going to be there's going to be a bit of a grey area and a lot of loopholes involved. Which means that commercials aren't going to get all the big penalties, like if this was, say, a Shogun, like the car version of this. You would get hit by big fines because it's classed as like, not fines, like charges, where these are going to be exempt. So they're going to be a little bit of a good thing to have in the future, where when we get more involved with emission zones, it's going to be they're going to be handy to have. Another thing as well is what put us off buying one originally was the classed as a commercial. So in Scotland it's even worse, but in this country, it means single carriageway roads, you're restricted to 50. Dual carriageway roads, which is like all of Northumberland basically, we don't have motorways, you're stuck to 60, and on obviously motorways you can do 70. I didn't like that. I think in Scotland it's down to nearly 40, I believe, in some areas. I'm not 100%, but anyways, having to drive around on single carriageway roads at 50 miles an hour, and on dual carriageways having to do 60. And as everybody knows, there's these speed camera vans and stuff like that just sitting everywhere these days, and you just never know what to trust. But I've done some research. I mean, I'm an MOT tester. This is what you call a dual purpose vehicle. It has 4 opening doors, sits 5 people and it's less than 2,040 kilograms unladen. It even states on the logbook. So really, as an MOT, it's definitely class 4. But there's a few weird things get put out about this. Is like, you know, when that unladen, is that classed as since it's had the canopy put on? Is that classed since it's had the side steps put on? Blah blah blah, like that. So what it is I even contacted the police who deals with like the speeding fines and stuff, and he sent me an email confirming that definitely this would be classed as a dual purpose vehicle, so therefore you can do the normal speeds, which is obviously, you know, 60 on single carriageway, 70 on dual carriageway, and 70 on motorways, regardless really with weights. As long as the thing on the logbook states it's less than 2 ton, that's fine. So there's just a few little things what might put people off wanting to have one of these as a daily runabout. So first of all, economy. It's really not too bad. The car was, you know, it was getting about 35 to the gallon around the doors and about just scraping 40 on a run. But I've done a few adaptations. I'll show under the bonnet first before I go into too much detail on the car. What I've done, if you just bear with us, I'll open the bonnet. First things I did, I got these struts fitted. Where I fitted them, I bought them from Dark Ice Designs that are on eBay. They make all these things for different cars which aren't fitted with these as standard, and I think they're fantastic. First of all, you know the bonnet's not going to drop on you. Second of all, it lifts up so much higher than normal for working and access and getting more light. But first of all, I fitted a tuning box. It's a proper Argy tuning box for this vehicle. That I've got a bit of plastic over it to stop any water. It's just a tuning box, but these are developed for like commercial vehicles. They're great. It connects to the high pressure fuel injection rail and also the map sensor as well. So it works on both ways, where the old ones, what I had a little bit of involvement with years ago, they were very crude and horrible. They just connected to the injection rail and I didn't rate them at all. But these aren't meant for silly kind of speeds. They're just for commercial vehicles to get a bit more torque and better drivability, and it's been fantastic since I fitted this. You know, if you had it in 4th gear going up a hill, and you sometimes had to have it at the right speed at the right time, otherwise you would just find it would sort of, you know, lag down a bit and the turbo wouldn't kick in. So you can turn them onto different settings from A to E and 1 to 9. So, you know, like A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 9, B, and so on. This is currently set at D5 at the moment, and I find that's perfect. It's just enough torque, not too much power. So it's running at about 190, 195 brake horsepower at the minute. But again, that sounds like a lot, but in a car like this, it's torque you want, not brake horsepower. Any diesel, to be quite honest. But the main thing which I'm very impressed with is this. It's a EGR delete module. All it is, it just plugs into the car's harness here and connects to your MAF sensor, your mass airflow. At first, I was very suspicious of these. I didn't know how they worked, and I wanted to do some research to find out how. And what it does is it alters the temperature, and I thought straight away, hold on, if you're altering air temperatures, you're going to alter fuel injection timing, all sorts. Didn't want nothing to do with it. But here, the EGR gets its only temperature reading from this device, and that's all it sends to. It's not sent to any other part of the car's ECU or nothing. There's all other sensors. There's a temperature sensor and the map sensor. There's temperature sensor, the water, the coolant sensor, fuel temperature sensor, all that. So this only works for the EGR valve. So what this does is it puts the car into a default setting where it thinks it's too cold to have the EGR valve running. So without having to put no stupid blanking plates in to affect your warranty or anything like that, all it does is it keeps the EGR valve closed all of the time. But if you blank them off, they do stay closed 100% of the time. But with these having a DPF, when you do when it needs to do a regen, you need the EGR valve to be able to open to cool the combustion chambers, which this does. It's a preset thing, so when these cars are in very cold climates, it keeps the EGR valve closed electronically, but when they do need to be open, it allows them to open. So fantastic. That's just a win-win. And my fuel economy now on a run's gone up to 46 miles per gallon on a run, and I can still get up to the 40 figures around the doors. Couldn't even get close to that beforehand. So brilliant, fantastic. These I'll do a separate review on them in the tuning box if anybody's interested. But again, these engines, these were renowned for head gaskets and everything, but these are a revised engine. These are the 4N15 engine, which means you have a timing chain, not a timing belt, and there's very little known issues with serious problems with them, especially if you look after them. Just with them having a DPF, you've got to get them regen them now and again, which means getting them up to speed on a motorway in higher, you know, like in 4th gear rather than being in 6th. I'll go through that on maybe another video of how to look after your DPF and the right and wrong things to do. So that's the under the bonnet. I'll put that down and carry on around the car. Obviously, the first thing I did when I got the car was fit this bonnet guard. I'm not too keen on what I call tat, but I do think they look nice on these, and they do serve a purpose because you get so much impact of stones and everything on here. And what they tend to do is, as well, if they hit this, they fly over and they just miss your windscreen, so you don't get a cracked windscreen. Second up, with it being the Warrior spec, you get the bi-xenon headlamps with the LED running lights, which are good. You get the headlamp washers. The only thing I didn't like when I got the car, it had horrible candle-powered, old-fashioned LED, like halogen fog lamps. I am not joking you. A little 501 satellite bulb was brighter than them. They were terrible. And I didn't realise Mitsubishi did a proper original equipment LED fog lamp upgrade kit. I think they're about £130, and the units just pop off, 4 bolts in, plug and play, job done. They're fantastic because they do fill the gap on dark roads where these headlamps do shine rather high, so these are great on dark roads for just kind of providing a bit more light at night. So again, I put my private plate on. I don't normally put them on cars, but I did on this. So I'll move around now to the tyres. It had brand new, more or less brand new tyres on it. I just didn't like them. There was more tread on a coarser tyre than one of these. So I decided to go along the route of general AT3 grabbers. Absolutely fantastic. I'll do another review on the tyres and what to use and what not to use, but I'll just quickly go through. They're an all-terrain tyre, so they are fantastic on the road, dry or wet, in the snow like this. Definitely going to have a little bit of fun before I leave. They're just fantastic. Tyre sizes are only, the were 245 65 17, and I jumped up to a 255 65 17. A lot of people go 265 70 17s, but when you do that, you alter all the gearing of your car, you mess the speedo up, the miles per gallon, and they just drive awful. And yeah, they look a bit more aggressive and they may be a bit better off-road, but not for me. 255, best thing I ever did. It doesn't affect the car whatsoever on the road. I'll just quickly move on to the Warrior spec. Barbarian, and the only thing that first put me off this car was, oh, Warrior. I was thinking, well, the Barbarian's the top spec, it must have like much better sat nav and better lights and all the other things you would expect, but I could not believe it when I spoke with the salesman. I said, can you print me off something, what the difference is? He says, oh, you're not going to believe this. He said, it's just a whole load of stick-on parts and slightly different seats in the interior. I said, you're joking? He said, yeah. He said, that's all it is. He said, all of them come in the country Warrior spec, and then that just changed over. So the only difference is, which I've actually decided now, the Warrior is the best spec to go for. You get some chicken wire in the grille at the top here and at the bottom, which just looks cheap. I like this look here. It's nice open grille. This chicken wire you get in the Barbarian, it looks awful, and when it starts to rust, it'll just not look good at all. Inside these door handle things, they stick in some chrome inserts here on the fuel cap and also around the back light. Again, it just looks like a flipping weekend job, DIY, cheap tat. Don't like it at all. So again, that was another point towards definitely wanting the Warrior, which I wanted this particular car anyways because I love the colour. I can't tell you exactly what colour blue it is, but it's just nice. There's not that many colours to pick from on the trucks, just red, white, silver, grey, dark green. The blue definitely stands out from the rest. Yeah, so the only other thing the Barbarian came with, which I did want, was this soft drop tailgate. This just used to just drop to the floor, bang, which I didn't want for the kids. This just drops down lovely, one finger down, one finger up. Believe me, you couldn't do that beforehand. It's an £80 kit, 2 spring-loaded hinges in a damper. That's all it is. It's easy to fit. So I'll come back to the back of the car after this. So yeah, there's a few changes on the interior, but I've currently got my partner in the car, so I'll do a review of the interior towards the end of this video, not at this location. So yeah, you get like I say, Warrior spec, you get all the side steps. So I'll head towards the back. You get the keyless entry on them as well, which I told you I didn't like on the Passat. Brilliant idea this. As long as you've got the key in your pocket, you can lock and unlock the doors, start the engine. You don't need to have the key. Great idea. So yeah, so obviously when I fitted these tyres, I removed the rear drums and coated them with a Hammerite 7-year protection because they were starting to go a bit funny, even though the car was practically new. Front calipers, they are painted, but they were that colour anyway. Again, new car. But the main thing I did, and like I've mentioned to people, I will do reviews on this about wax oil and rust prevention. You can put it on all the cars, but all you're doing is slowing down the process. But this is the first new car I've had. The first thing I did in August, obviously, nice weather in the summer. Put it on the lift and spent the whole weekend. Luckily, there was no rust underneath the clear, but clean it all down and did the full underbody with clear wax oil. It took some time to do, but I'll show you on the chassis here. It's all dirty now, like, but all the full chassis underneath was done, and I also used some cavity wax as well. I'll get the proper name of what it's called, but you basically inject it into all the inner sills, box sections, bits where you kind of get the wax oil. And I think this car, come 10 years, it'll be a hell of a lot different to a regular one that hasn't been done. Any Japanese cars, they're just terrible for rusting. So that's the main thing I wanted done. So yeah, I'll just go towards the back here. You get the Truckman Adventurer 3 hardtop Canopy, colour coded. Must admit, one thing I don't like about the car is these. They are very, very, very poorly made. One thing that lets the car down. They look nice from a distance, but believe it or not, this car's only just clicked 10,000 miles and had very, very light use. It was only just into Mitsubishi last month, getting a whole brand new canopy under warranty. The paint had started bubbling up. This is no fault of anybody who's had the person who had the car before me or anything. Nothing to do with them. This had been from the factory. The windows were cracking on the seals. This boot lid had cracks. There was the wiring harness up here had all cracked. The dampers had been replaced. It was basically, the lads at Mitsubishi just said there's that many things to do, they'll just replace it. So they did, and I must admit, Blackshaw's Mitsubishi Motors, fantastic garage, can't recommend them enough. The lads in the workshop are more than helpful and very nice there towards you, and the reception staff as well, they're always willing to help. I had one issue with this car which I don't like, is the old L200s, you could open the window at the back here to get in to clean and push things through. You can't on these. So I even asked them when they lifted the canopy off, because that window had getting filthy, if they could clean it for us. Not a bother, they cleaned it, no grumbling on, nothing like that. So thumbs up, top lads. I think the lad's called Tom, the workshop manager, I believe. I'm terrible with names, but highly recommended. So yeah, that was on. So they fitted it for us, and I took it away, and I didn't like the feel of the lock. I said the lock just doesn't feel good at all, and they looked at it and they went, yeah, I agree. He says you're gonna have to get a new handle put on. This is a brand new, I think about £2,000 or £3,000 canopy, and he says, yeah, he said that's just the way they are. So just last week there, I've had a brand new lock and handle fitted. You shouldn't have to be doing that on a brand new canopy, you really shouldn't. But it's nothing to do with Mitsubishi, it's Truckman, nothing to do with them. But I certainly wouldn't be happy if I had spent my money on that. But luckily it's a new top under warranty. The only other thing I did add is they come standard on the Adventurer, the roof rails, but you didn't get them on the car. I didn't need them, and I won't use them. They're more for show. I just stuck a set on the car just to make it match. I used to do my head in having wheels on the back and they're on the front, so now it all matches. So yeah, I'll move around. I did the LED rear light, stopping tails, indicators, they're super bright, and also you get the reversing camera, and I did the reverse light as well. The only thing that lets it down on the back, one dim little reversing light. So they've gone to the effort of putting a camera, but that light does not help, is no use to nothing. So I've upgraded it, but it's not the best. So if you look, there's a bar underneath down here. I have got some spot lamps to put onto there to use for reversing and just general working at the back of the car. So that's maybe a future video when I get round to doing it, but in this weather I can't be bothered. It's just too cold. So I'll go around, I'll just come back to the front here. I don't know if the camera will show this up, but the only other thing that I did underneath, if you can see, I don't know if you can, full underneath, full underbody protection, genuine Mitsubishi steel. It goes all the way back to the back of the gearbox, back of the transfer box to about midway to the car here. I just didn't like it. It had like a cheap plastic tray on, and the front bit used to hang down quite a bit. This gives you much more better ground clearance. I don't intend hammering the car off road, but it's just nice if you ever hit something on the road, or you do a little bit of light off-roading, you don't go cracking your gearbox, your transfer box, cracking your sump open. So I just thought, if the car's going to look like it's going to go off-road, may as well actually be able to do it with the tyres, bit of underbody protection. It's as far as I really want to go with it, you know. There's a few other things I'm going to do, but I'm not going to tart it up too much. But yeah, definitely recommend the Series 5 over any. I mean, the Rangers are okay, but they have a lot of engine problems. The Hilux, since they stopped doing the 3 litre, they only do a 2.4 now. It's kind of like not going to spend that extra money for it. No issues with Toyota cracking cars. Oh, sorry, there's what's it called? The Fiat. I think it's called the Fiat Fullback. Is exactly the same car as this. So if you ever see something that looks like this with a Fiat badge on, don't hesitate to buy it. It is a Mitsubishi and it's a good car. The only thing I will say, I don't like Fiat to start with, so I wouldn't want the Fiat badge on it. And the interior has a few little bits of differences. I don't think it's got that good kind of edging in it. So if you can afford it, pay the bit extra and get the Mitsubishi, definitely. So yeah, I'm going to do the review of the interior when everybody's out. I'll quickly open the back and go in. I've got the dog in, you've seen him on my previous videos. Obviously, you've got my channel car at a garage northeast, from the northeast. Again, nice gas strut opening back. You've got the 4 sliding windows in the back. And again, the soft drop down tailgate. Oh, sorry, that was it. Water defence. Got the car back home. You know, first day home, parked it on the drive, come out the next day, had the dog cage in like I have, carpet down, soaking wet in the back, had been pouring rain, didn't know what, I thought I had left the window open or something. Here, these things here are called a water defence kit, and they go down, and what happens is water comes through this joint here and pours into the car. So why they would fit this from new, the Canopy, and not fit a water defence kit's beyond me. But the garage who I bought it off, they give me these for free and I fitted them. They're a bit of a pain, but now they're fitted, I've never had an issue. Unless you go mental with a jet wash, no bother. So always get these proper genuine Mitsubishi water defence kits. The car comes with a battery powered light. It's okay, but with the cold weather they're not lasting very long. As you can see, I've got loads of space. I've got a dog cage in, all the stuff, the pram. Main reason I bought this car, like this, you can throw all the rubbish in, full of snow, everything, and none of the mess goes in. This is what I could not justify spending a lot of money on the car and putting the dog in the back. I've had estate cars, I've had every car you can imagine, like cheap runabouts, and no matter how hard you try with covers and carpets, the dog, the smell, the mess, the hairs, just comes into the car, and I couldn't do it. So this has been fantastic. Just chuck them in the back, put everything in, and nothing comes through the car, because I'm a bit of a fanny when it comes to keeping the inside of the car clean to a degree. So it means I can have a new car and do everything in it that I would do in an old car. Put the dog in, family days out, it's fantastic. So, you know, drivability wise, yeah, clearly it's not going to drive like sports car, but on the road it'll sit there happily at 70 miles an hour with a tuning box on, running about 190 brake. It can keep up with traffic. To be quite honest, I don't push it hard, but they can go just as hard as a car on the road. The handle fine. Miles per gallon, as I've mentioned, is not bad. So a lot of people look at it and go, ooh, big gas guzzler, you'll be getting single figures, you know. Nah, nothing like that. The way I put it, I tell people, it's about the same as having something like a 1.6 petrol Focus, if you drive it sensibly, or like a 1.8 Mondeo petrol. You know, it doesn't really cost much more to tax, in fact less than the tax, because I think most of the petrol engine, like oldish kind of cars, petrol ones now, are like £300 or more. So this is actually cheaper to tax, cheaper to run. So don't go along the lines of looking at it and going, it's too big, it's a gas guzzler, stuff like that. It isn't. It's really not. So yep, I'll do another video of the interior and get back to you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this content, like and subscribe. Let us know more things that you want to see like this, or more mechanical things, you know, let me know. Thank you and goodbye.